Welcome to the Let Them Live podcast with Emily Burning, a place for meaningful conversations, real stories, and a shared mission to protect life.
What's up, everyone? This time I always say I'm excited, but this is different because this is like maybe one of the funniest stories of how I met someone, and it shows my persistence. Um, but it just become a friendship from the get-go, and just kind of a different type of story we're talking about today. It really doesn't have anything to do with like specifically with pro-life or abortion or anything like this. That's kind of like a fun twist on it. So I'm really excited to introduce Josh. And Josh and his wife actually bought a board game. I don't know if it's considered a board game, maybe like a card game. But when they told me that, I was like, what do you mean you bought one? So they own a game like you would go buy at the store. And I just thought that was super cool. We played it a few times. And I'm sure Josh has an even better introduction than that. But this is a really fun game. And they're also pro-life. So proceeds are going to part of proceeds are going to Let Them Live. So I was like, we got to have you on the podcast. This is a wonderful game for, the holidays are coming up, just fun family times, especially if you're from the Midwest. This is a very like Midwesty type game, but I'm excited to have Josh on to talk about it. And I'm gonna stop yapping and I'm gonna get him up. What's up, Josh?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, good, good, good. I'm glad we finally did this and made it happen. Funny enough, Josh and his wife Brianna and Nathan and I only live like a mile from each other. So it's good that
we still couldn't get in the same room to do this.
We couldn't. Life is a little crazy. But yeah, I don't know if maybe you want to tell it, or I could tell it from my perspective too, how we first met, because I think that is maybe the best story I've ever been part
of. Yeah, how you stalked my wife in the Lowe's parking lot. Yeah,
the way you say it makes it sound so bad.
It's a great story. I love it. But you share your version.
Okay.
You were there. I wasn't. So
that's true. Okay. So this was last year before we had our One Life ball, our gala, and I was driving, and where we live, you have to drive over the bridge to get to, all the stuff. So I had to go to Lowe's that day for some reason, and I was driving and I ended up behind this truck, and they had a Choose Life license plate, and I was like, oh, that's so awesome. I wish I had some sort of like flyer or something I could just get out of the car and give it to them so they could come to the One Life ball. And we kept driving, and I was like, oh well, I don't know, maybe another time. So then I'm turning left into the Lowe's parking lot, and I see that truck is also turning left into the Lowe's parking lot. And I was like, yes, this is my opportunity. So I was like, okay, this can go one of two ways. I could be a totally normal person, or let me just drive and follow this truck to see where they park. And I didn't want to park right next to it. So I parked a couple of spots down, and I got out of my car, and I remember being like, okay, how do I make this like not creepy? And I feel like in doing so, I made it so creepy, but I was like waiting for your wife to get out of the truck. And then I totally just walk up to her and I'm like, hey, like I see your license plate, you're pro-life. I have a pro-life organization. Here's, I don't have a flyer, but I was like, we have this event. And so we exchanged numbers, and it was just so funny because I was definitely like going to make sure that I got to meet her. So that's how we initially met. And then you guys came to our event, and from there we just became friends and have had some game nights, and so everyone, that's the story of how much I persevere for this cause.
Yeah, my like literally right after you left, my wife called me. She's like, "You are not gonna believe what just happened," and she tells me the story, and I'm like, "That lady's psycho." That was my first thought, and then I looked up the website and did a little more digging. I was like, "Oh, this is an awesome organization that totally aligns with Brianna and I's beliefs," and we're like, "Yeah, we'll go to this. We'll go out. We'll spread the word and support it,
Yeah.
in any way that we can." So we're super, super happy to be partners with Let Them Live.
Yeah, and it was so awesome seeing you guys at the gala, like all tucked up and dressed up. And I just thought this is so cool because you just never know how or when you're going to end up meeting someone, and not even just to support, like Let Them Live, but to become friends. And that has been the biggest thing for Nathan and I, just having been fairly new and still fairly new to Florida, not having um like married friends or, people that are kind of on the same chapter in life, and so that was a huge blessing to us as well. And having just the same humor and, so it's been a blessing all around. And I remember we were actually at this we ended up meeting up for lunch, I think it was. It was at this grilled cheese place. They do like the best grilled cheese. And all of a sudden you were like, "Yeah, we bought what did you say? You're like, "We bought a board game," or "We bought a."
Yeah, bought a card game.
Yeah, you're like, "We bought a card game." I'm like, "What do you mean you bought a card game? Like what does that mean? Like you actually bought like the rights?" And I was thinking like Uno. I'm like, "You bought the rights to Uno or something?" And I was like, "Tell me more, tell me more."
Yeah, it was kind of a crazy, crazy story. We had some friends over. So like we moved to Florida. We didn't know anybody. We just got open doors, and I said, "Man, I hate the Midwest winter. I love the Midwest. If you're from the Midwest and you're watching this, the Midwest, some of the best people in the world, but your winters are terrible."
Yeah,
We're
winters are
living in
terrible,
Chicago.
summers are great, but that's
Right. We're living in Chicago, and I was like, this sucks. And so we moved to Florida, and God just opened door after door after door. And we had no idea why, what was going to happen. God had provided jobs, and just we're like, "Hey, we're just going to move to Florida. We're going to live, a nice life. We'll find a church, whatever." And God has just totally transformed our lives, and you and Nathan and your organization being a big part of that as well, and your friendship. But one of the things was we're attending this new church, and we met this young couple, and they're like, "Hey, yeah, we like to play games." And so they came over, we had dinner, and we played this game that I grew up playing in New Hampshire. It's called Barefoot and Wild. And they said, "Hey, this is really cool. Where do I buy this?" I was like, "Oh, I'm sure you can go online, find it, Google it." And it was sold out. There was, there's nothing out there, not even a copy available on eBay or Etsy or anything like that. And so I started doing some digging, and this game is really important to my family. Me and my siblings, we all own copies of the game. My parents have a couple copies. But my nieces and nephews, they're now to the age where they're getting married. They're starting their own families. And we really they wanted copies of the game, and they were sold out. So I did some digging, and I dug some more and dug some more, and I found a phone number, and I didn't know if it was the right phone number, but I found a phone number for the person whose name was attached to the copyright. And so I called her up, and sure enough, it was the lady who invented this game back in 1986. And I said, "Hey, I want to buy Barefoot and Wild." And she goes, I'm sorry, it's sold out." And I was like, "No, no, no. Like, I want to buy it." And I told her my family's story and how important this game was to us. And, after a little back and forth, we figured out a way that was profitable for both of us, that she could sell us the rights to the game. We redid some of the artwork, and we were able to get that game back into production. And so that not only does my family have copies, but we can share this with, so many more people. And we're really, really excited about that. It's an awesome family game. It's a rummy canasta style card game. I have a bit of a bone to pick with Nathan because he came to my house. He never played this game before, and he beat us.
yeah.
So that was
That was so
I see he didn't want to be on the podcast today.
yeah, no,
Um
he's in protection. I I remember the first time I played, I was like, okay, remind me of the rules again. But it actually is very simple and it's so
Right.
fun. It also gets pretty competitive, I guess, depending on who you're playing with. But
Oh yeah.
it's a little we've gotten competitive and it's so fun. Now when you first like reached out to the lady to talk about purchasing it, was Brianna, did she know about that, or was it kind of an afterwards discussion? I can't remember.
So, you know how like maybe Nathan says, I want to buy a boat. And you say, oh, go ahead, research it. Go look at it, right? Whatever, but you know it's never going to happen, right? It was kind of one of those run free, wild spirit, and you'll come back. And then as it got closer and closer and closer and more serious, there were a lot of like, oh, this is happening. Like, you actually want to do this. And when I told my wife, I told Brianna, I said, well, how hard can it be? I mean, this lady did it. How hard can it be? Fun fact, really freaking hard. As it turns out to be. It was
Rate your worth.
the the game business, the printing business, international shipping, marketing, website design, more marketing, game conventions. Like, it's a crazy world. And I knew absolutely nothing about it. But again, God had put some people in my life. And one of those was a guy I went to college with, and he just happened to pop up on my LinkedIn page as I was looking at it. And he is the vice president of board game development for this company. And I was like, how did he get into this? So I reached out to him, had a couple conversations. Another guy I was working with at the time, he was a freelancer for my company. I was talking to him about it. He's like, well, you know, I run game conventions and Comic Cons, right? And I was like, I had no idea. And so again, this, you know, confluence of events came together, and it worked out. And I have no idea why. To this day, I still don't know why it worked out, because it's certainly not been like this. It's not Uno. You probably haven't heard of it unless Nathan and Emily have introduced you to it. But it's worked out, and you know, God has just provided avenue after avenue and let them live, being one of them. We're incredibly thankful to you guys, because you let us rent some storage space for it from you. Because 5,000 copies of a card game takes up a lot of space.
Well, you
More
don't
than
think
fits in my
about it.
garage.
I'm really bad. I'm someone that's like so bad with like, I want to be like, oh yeah, it's in 3 miles. I'm like, I don't really know what 3 miles is. Or, oh yeah, it's 10 feet tall. I'm like, I don't really know. So then when you're like, oh yeah, we got 5,000 things, I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't. And then you walk in and it's just like stacked. But I love it because like there's just so much opportunity, and like this game is so fun. It really is. Like game nights over at the Akerbergs. I said it right this time, right?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Been forever calling them the Akerbergs. The Akerbergs house game night over there is so much fun, and it's just like, you know, I don't know. It's just you want to support too. Like this is the reason I wanted to have you on too, is because I want to support pro-life businesses regardless of any connection to let them live. I think it's important that we support people that are supporting like the pro-life cause. And so I hope that every single person that listens to this buys themselves a copy, because it's a really fun game. I even think that maybe it'd be fun to like put a phone on a tripod and like record all of us playing.
Oh, let's do it. Let's do it. So here's what I'll tell you about the game. On the box, it says that this is a game for 2 to 6 players. Now, if you're an enterprising individual like myself, you'll have more than one copy of the game. And so there's no limitation. I have 4,500 copies of the game right now. So I can have somebody math that for me in the comments, but
the chaos of that.
The total chaos ensues. We had a game. My in-laws were in town, and they had some friends from California and some other family from like the West Coast. They all came in, and there was like, it was either 9 or 11 of us that played this game. And I just busted out as many copies as we need. I'll be frank, usual game play time is about an hour and a half. that's out the window, right?
Oh
When
my
you're playing,
god,
but it was so much fun to play this game,
yeah,
total and pure chaos. Um, it
so fun.
it's so much fun. The more the merrier. The name of our company is called Mandatory Family Fun, which is what my dad always called it growing up. Mandatory Family Fun. So there were 7 kids in our household, and it's hard to get anybody to do anything at all. And that was dad or mom invoked Mandatory Family Fun, and that was it.
You
You
love
show
that.
up and you have fun whether you want to or not. Like, you don't have to be happy, but you have to have fun.
I love that
Um,
though because like I feel like we have such a digital age and everybody is on their phones all the time and sometimes it's so hard to connect. And so this is a great way to do that. And I feel like this is one of those games where you can still have conversations. Actually, in fact, I feel like the last time we played, we got distracted a few times and we're like, okay,
oh
back,
yeah,
but you can actually talk, you can have fun, you can, and it's just super fun. And I'm not usually one to try new card games. But this was a ton of fun. So I
it
yeah.
that's exactly it, and that's the whole premise behind the games. Like, I'm one of those people. My wife will tell you, my phone will tell you as well. You see how much screen time I have. Like, I work on my phone. I'm on my phone a lot, and it's really hard for me to put that down, particularly in this digital age. But the reality is, I'm not nearly as important as I think I am, uh,
I'm a
and none of us are.
none
And
of
so when you take that time, you put your phone down, and you just get to know people. And so what I particularly love about Barefoot and Wild, and there's a whole bunch of other games too, is it takes the pressure off of getting to know people. Like, all right, you have somebody over for dinner, you have polite, casual conversation, and then you sit down and you have some coffee or tea, and you're like, all right, cool. Tell me what motivates you. Tell me your deepest, darkest secret. Like, whatever. It's awkward. Like, where do we go from here? Like, hey, let's just bust out a game, and you get to know people's personality, and then inevitably there's going to be a story that comes out. Um,
Yes. Everything, the truth really comes out when you're in a
oh
competitive environment.
yeah, like, uh, we didn't really know you and Nathan that well. Like, you stalked my wife in the parking lot, and then we spent some time at the Let Them Live ball together, but you had a bunch of other people there too. And you and I and Brianna had lunch once. Um, and then you and Nathan, and I forget who the other guy
Oh,
was that came
Colin.
over.
Colin
Colin.
came. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was our videographer. Yes.
Yeah. He came over, and you guys, we played the
Oh,
game, and that's when I like, these are like, they're good people, but like, these are great people.
yeah. Like
And we
people you
really got
can
to know
actually
you and
hang out
count
with.
you as friends.
Yeah, 100%. That's how we felt
Yeah.
too, and it was so refreshing. Like I said, it's always hard to like start over and try to find new friends that have the same values but are also super fun and I think it did that for us. And I did have a question for you. To play
Yeah.
Barefoot and
Fire away.
Wild, is it a requirement to be barefoot and wild?
It is not. However, if you're in Florida, there's a good chance you're barefoot and wild at the same time. So if you're a Florida person, so let me circle back if I have a second here. So this
Absolutely.
game, one of the reasons why I say just like the doors opened is, as I was doing this research, I grew up in New Hampshire in the middle of nowhere. And I remembered this story about how we got this game. I was about Eleanor, my daughter's age. I was about 7, 8 years old, if I remember correctly. And I thought maybe I just made this story up. I had no idea. But when I started tracking, like, where is the inventor of the game, I remember my dad giving a check to some guy at church who was flying down to Orlando, and he was going to see call it his mother, right? And my dad gave a check to this guy because his mom knew someone who could get their hands on the game, and he was going to bring back a couple copies. I had no idea if that story was true or not, but that's what I went off of. And turns out, I called my dad later. I was like, "Hey, by the way, is this a true story?" He's like, "Oh yeah, that's exactly how we got the game." Um, I have no idea why I remember that. And as I'm tracking down the owner of this game, it turns out after I had moved to Florida, and this is a game that had no marketing done whatsoever over 35 years. She lives a half hour away. She lives in our county. And it's meant to be. It was meant to be.
Barefoot
And
and Wild.
so, yeah, so it was invented here in Florida by a Florida native. And now we are Floridians and we're bringing it back to life. And we're just,
Heck yeah.
it's so exciting. And as much as I am on my phone, I absolutely like, it's so important to build relationships with the people around you, your friends, your neighbors, your family. Like we can't go to a family event and there's always going to be a Barefoot and Wild game breaking out. It's just,
I love it.
that's how it works. It is what it is.
I love it.
And but it's something that has brought my family together for, 30 some odd years now. And we're just thankful for it.
Yeah, I think it's such a fun game too. Like you said before, it's if anyone has ever played, canasta, rummy, like it's kind of like you'll feel elements of both, and it's so
Yep.
much fun. And you feel good when you're purchasing this game because
Right.
you're supporting people who are pro-life, and that's what we want. We want more of this. And I remember when you were like telling me, yeah, like we bought this game. I'm like, wait, what do you mean you bought this game? And I was like, yeah, explain this to me a different way because I didn't know that you could like buy the rights to a game, but it makes sense. But I just never knew anyone that was like, hey, yeah, we own this game like outright, the rights to it. And I thought it was so cool. And so the second you guys got the order in, I actually remember, oh my gosh, I love Nathan, but he's so funny. He just you guys had we they're all at the Let Them Live office, and Nathan just came home with like 5 of them. And I was like, Nathan, how we have to pay for those. And so I was like in my calendar, like, pay the bill, but he wanted to grab all of them so that he could just like give them to family and friends, and that's exactly what we did. We gave them to all of our family and friends because our Nathan's whole family loves to play, card games and stuff. So like literally Barefoot and Wild is the perfect game to give. And again, you're supporting such a good cause. So I love it. I'm very grateful that we met you guys because I just never knew that, all of this stuff would happen. And now we have friends to play games with. And you guys
Right.
have the coolest koozies. Are they called koozies or cozies?
Yeah, the can koozies.
Yeah.
So we have our mandatory family fun koozies. They're on our website. We also have so you talked about how fun it is to come to our house for game night. One of the things that we think makes it really fun is not only having the right mix of people, but you got to have the right food for game night.
True.
And Brianna and I, we love to put on a spread. But most of what you'll find on the spread at our house is available in our cookbook, our game night cookbook. So we've got hot items, finger food, snack items. My salsa recipe is going to be in there. We got drink recipes that are in there. And we sell that on our website as well.
Okay, so I'm probably wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I knew that you guys were going to do a cookbook. So now
You don't have a copy?
No, because I thought maybe the last time we talked it wasn't out yet, or maybe it was. I don't trust my memory. It's crap.
So we rolled out our cookbook, which is some of my recipes. It's recipes from family and friends that would come to my house growing up, or we would go to their house, and it was they'd make this. It's some of our favorite foods that we would all get together and have at game night. And so as we were getting ready for our first it was right after the games came in, and we got ready for our first convention. Like 3 weeks later, it was in North Carolina. And I'm just going to throw this out there. So this game had been in our hand for about 3 weeks, and we go to this convention. We have nothing. We have no marketing, no advertising. I packed as many games as I could in my station wagon, and we unboxed them all, and we just built a wall of the games. And that was our advertising. But while we were there, we were one of like 40-ish new games on the market for that year that went to the convention. And we received honorable mention for best new game of the year out of about 40 new games in the state of North Carolina. But we rolled out the cookbook just before
Oh,
we went to that convention.
maybe.
So
Okay, you're right. I remember you telling me that now. Okay, so you've got the cookbook, you've got
we
the
got the
koozie.
cookbook.
What
Yep.
else do you have on your website besides the game too?
So cookbook, koozies. We're working on some other merch. We got some. Everybody loves stickers, and so we have a couple of stickers. And I wish I had a sample of them with me. But my favorite sticker, we have our mandatory family fun sticker because you got to have that. But probably my favorite sticker, it's a sticker that can go on your Yeti, on your Let Them Live Yeti, that says snack, game, repeat.
Love it.
And it's just a fun little sticker. I think we've got some other t-shirts and stuff, hats that kind of rotate through. We got some other products like that available on our website as well. But
My
10%, you buy the game, 10% of everything, all of the revenue that comes through mandatory family fun, 10% of that goes back to Let Them Live.
Woo, that's awesome. Okay, so you guys heard that, which means now you need to go buy your stuff. So, what is the website and any social media, like, let's plug that.
Yeah, so you can find us on all social media. If you search Mandatory Family Fun, we're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I'm really bad at TikTok, so
Me too.
more Instagram and Facebook is where you'll find us. And our website is mandatoryfamilyfun.us. That's how you can find us there. I'm just going to throw this out there. I think you and I would both agree that the pro-life community is above average, right? It
I'm
is composed of above average individuals. I ran the numbers the other day, and the average person purchases 4.2 games from us. That's the average purchase amount. So if you want to be above average and give even more money back to Let Them Live, purchase 5 games or more. And we could throw on some special pricing. Just shoot us an email. It's right there on the website.
I love that. I think that's awesome. Yeah, and again, like, you guys, this is a perfect gift too. So if you know someone, even if you don't play games, you should get into it. But no, if you don't play games, I guarantee you know at least one person that does, and this is such a perfect gift, you know. And so yeah, I agree. I think Nathan, I'm pretty sure we just paid for like at least
You
5.
guys have bought, I want to say it's 15 games is
Okay.
what you guys have purchased from us. So you have bumped our numbers up a little bit. But here's what I'll tell you. We have had multiple orders of 10 games or more.
Wow.
We've had
Okay.
several people. We've shipped them to South Korea. We've shipped them to Germany. Um,
Okay.
yeah, it's a
Oh,
world. It's
no.
a growing worldwide phenomenon. That's how I like to put it.
Crazy.
And they're like, people, when they buy the games, like, there's 12 of them come in a box, and they'll call me up and say, hey, how many come in a box now? Because we redesigned everything. Oh, it's 12. Cool. Hey, can I just buy a box?
Okay.
Yeah, great. I'll ship you a whole box. If you are a corporate listener, you own your own company, it makes a great holiday, gift, a great holiday thank you, either for your employees, for your customers. I know there's a company up in Wisconsin that for years, the owner of that company in Wisconsin would buy boxes of games every year around November to give them out to his employees as Christmas gifts.
I think that's cool. And pair it with the koozie, and there you go. You have
Yep.
the best game ever. I think that's awesome. Yeah. So again, mandatoryfamilyfun.us. Everyone who's listening. And 10% goes back to Let Them Live, which I think is amazing. And I'm just very grateful, and I'm also just really excited to get my butt back down to Florida so that I can't remember who won the last game. I think was
I
it you
did.
and I? We were on a
Yeah.
team. Okay, so we gotta hold that
Yeah.
title.
Yeah. It was you and me and my wife, and she had a friend over.
Yeah,
Um,
I think
I'll make one other plug real quick.
plug yourself, plug it.
If you live in the Ormond Beach area, it is available at Fern and Fable bookstore. So we always encourage people, like, Fern and Fable has put up the capital to buy some of our games. Go to Fern and Fable, because again, what Fern and Fable purchased the games for, 10% of that went back to Let Them Live. So go to Fern and Fable, support them if you live local. And it's also going to be at a Novelty Bookstore in here in Ormond Beach very soon as well. So if you have an opportunity to support Let Them Live and support, local people, if you live in the Ormond Daytona area, Volusia County, Palm Coast, Flagler County, you should go there and purchase those games from them as well.
Okay, well that means now I have to go buy 2 more. I want to show my support. But yeah, we actually do have a lot of supporters in the, Northeast Florida type area. So I think that's amazing. And also, if you are someone that has some sort of store that, I don't know if it's like a bookstore or a place that would sell games or any sort of connection, that would be amazing. Like, we are all in a community here. We're all working together. And sometimes that looks, a little different. It's not always just like a donation. It's not always just volunteering for Let Them Live. Sometimes it's supporting pro-life businesses as well. So always reach out to me, reach out to Mandatory Family Fun if you have any connections or ways that you want to promote Barefoot and Wild. And maybe we could do, I don't know, I'm trying to think of cool ways we could do some sort of Barefoot and Wild game. I don't know. We'll keep thinking, but I want people to see how fun it is. Maybe we'll just like live stream one of our games.
that would be a lot of fun. I assume we would need Nathan or Colin or somebody who's much smarter than me, because that's not my jam. I'm a people person, not a tech person. But
I love it. Well, anything else that you want to say or plug, before we close out?
I think we pretty much covered it all. But really, I don't really have to plug you on your own podcast, but I'm going to. The pro-life work is so important. I have the benefit of, I grew up in a Christian home. I grew up in a pro-life family and pro-life community. So I never had to really, I don't want to say I didn't have to think too hard about it, because I've had to consider my positions. I've got many friends who are not pro-life at all, and they think I'm just this crazy wacko person who just wants women barefoot and pregnant all the time. But the reality is that, in the Bible, we have this whole concept of people sacrificing to idols. And we look back and say, the book of Exodus, 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st, 2nd Chronicles, right? Where they talk about, these nations that are sacrificing, children to their God. That's exactly what abortion is, right? We are sacrificing children to the God of ourselves, to the God of financial peace, quote unquote, to the hope of future prosperity, whatever you want to call that God. That's exactly what it is. And so the work of Let Them Live is so important and so fundamental to us as the fabric of our society. It is fundamental to life itself, and acknowledging that life is precious from the moment of conception. And the fact that Let Them Live has found this awesome angle. When I heard about your organization, I was like, oh, okay, this is an organization that does it totally differently, where you guys recognize most people, they don't want to have an abortion. They don't want to do this, but they feel like they're being forced to. They're being pressed into it by society. And you're here to come alongside these women and say, hey, that's not the case. God loves you. We love you. Your child is a gift from God. And the fact that you're able to do that and provide the support to these moms who really want to keep their baby and love their child, like, that's incredible. So buy a game, don't buy a game, I don't really care. But whatever you do, if you're going to spend your money one way or the other, just spend it to support Let Them Live.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Josh. That is very high praise. And I think having you on just shows that we're all doing this together. It takes all of us and in our very unique gifts that God gave us, whether it be running the organization or being the entrepreneurial owner of a card game that is supporting it. I think God is using us all in different ways. So please buy a game, everybody. And maybe we can get together sometime and do some gigantic, huge, let them live. Barefoot and
And we just got to figure out how to get it into the Guinness Book of World Records. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Someone could get that started. I love that.
Right.
Yeah.
There's got to be a listener who 6 degrees of separation. There's somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody.
Always, always, always. I love it. Well, thank you again for sharing. Again, you guys, mandatoryfamilyfun.us. Not only can you go on and buy Barefoot and Wild, which is one of the most fun games I've played, but also they've got merch. I think that I could see myself rocking a bucket hat too. I'm just throwing it out there. I could see myself having a mandatory family fun bucket hat. I know I'm into bucket hats lately, so
I'll keep it in mind.
Keep it in mind. All right. Well, thank you again so much, Josh, for coming on. And Nathan and I will see you in a few months for some game time. So.
All right. Sounds great.
All right. Bye, you guys.
Thank you for tuning in to the Let Them Live podcast with Emily Burning. If you enjoyed this episode, please let us know your thoughts in the comments and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.